So this is my last video in this series, and this one is about the most one of the coolest one of these, but maybe not the most used one. That is the actual FlowPane. So I already showed that we can get some kind of flow out of something like both the TilePane and also the GridPane. We can, especially the TilePane, we can actually, if we set that size to resize automatically, the TilePane can actually flow nicely as well. But with the FlowPane, we can also have different sizes and they can flow naturally based on their size. This is what we see here, whereas this will always flow into these fixed size boxes. So we can have any size. So if we put a lot of different size images in there, which I'll try to show in this video, it will look very nice and they will flow very nice. We can either flow like horizontally, or we can actually also flow vertically. So we have two different flow directions that we can use, and I'll try to show both of them. So what I did first is I just found and downloaded a couple of other images that are in different sizes. You can see these drinks kind of have the same format, so it's not very interesting, but these are horizontally formatted. So let's try to put them inside. So first off, we need to remove this StackPane TopPane thing. So let's open up in the scene builder, and then we'll just go for the AnchorPane immediately and wrap that inside of a FlowPane, because now we can easily just press delete and away we go. And then we should still have our controller here because we used the wrap-in. So now we have our FlowPane. So FlowPane is pretty easy to use, but it's really cool as well. So we have row alignment and stuff like this we can set up, and we need to put something inside of this FlowPane. But for now, I just think let's just keep it as is and maybe set the preferred width to something so that it will not totally collapse from the beginning. So I'll go for 800 times 600 like that, so we can see that it's actually there right now. And then what I want to do, I want to put some images into it so you can see how it flows. So I'm saving that, and before I do that, I should of course give it like a FlowPane ID like that. Save that, close that, and then go FlowPane, and then go for FlowPane like that. So now we have a FlowPane. We don't have any button or anything like that, so we can just ignore that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say image view like this. I'm going to say new image view, and it's important that this is from the JavaFX. I did the problem before, JavaFX scene image view, yes. So, and then we need to put the file name inside here to put an image here. And I'll just start by using what I've shown before. We go for, I marked this as a resource folder by using the mark directory as resources. I put it in a subdirectory called images, and then I right click the file and I say copy path from source root. And then I should be able to do like this. The next thing I do, I'm going to add that to my FlowPane. So I'm going to say FlowPane, and then I'm going to say, like all the others, we need to say get children. And then we're going to say add, and then I'm putting the image view here. So I'm going to save that and play that. And we can see that the image is here. We can't see much of the FlowPane yet other than we put the image here and it sits there nicely. Just like if we opened up Explorer, we kind of, if I do like this, they kind of So it sits there in the corner just like that. Let's put the same image in there multiple times. So I'm just going to make a small loop. And I'm going to put it in there like 10 times. It's going to be big. And let's try to rerun it. And we should see that it flows now. So if I made it wider like this, it actually flows to the sides. And with 10 elements, it's kind of hard to see. Let's go for 4 instead. Might be better. Was a bit too big like that. So if we do like this, we can see it flows and it doesn't resize the images or anything like that. It actually pushes the window to the size right now because it's my basic element. What we could do is we could have added something like a pane outside here where we could put a what's it called, a scroller here so that we can actually scroll within this window. But this is not the topic for this video, so I just wanted to show that. So now we have the image view. We have different kinds of drinks here. So let's try to add some of them. So I'm going to say string image path equal images slash drink, and then plus some number plus dot JPEG, something like that. And then I'm going to use the image path instead. And we can use I here and then +1 because it starts with 1. And then that should give us different images. Okay, so what did I forget? Let's try to, I'll just copy this and then try to go back. Images slash drink 1. Let's just try like this again. That did work. Okay. Yes, so I put this back. So of course I forgot the parentheses here because it will add them like a string. So it will add 1. First one will be 0, 1, and then it will be 1, 1, and so forth. So now it should work. Still the same image though, but that's because I didn't put the image path here yet. But now it can actually load the images, I think. So we can see it looks kind of nice. It flows as it should and everything. But it would be nice if we could actually see like the ones that weren't as similar to these ones. So if I go like, if I add so that we start with 4 instead, and then we only go for 3. That might be too much. No, it's not. So then we can see how they flow. You can see they actually flow, although these images are not the same size, they flow quite nicely among each other like this. So this is what you can use a FlowPane for. And you can also, like in one of my previous videos, you could put the image together with the text, for example, the file name. So you could have something like, you could say label L E file name text equals new label. And then you could say something like image path here. So then you have the label, and you could wrap those in something like an AnchorPane. new AnchorPane, and then we can say ap.getChildren.add, and then we put the image view, and we can say ap.getChildren.add, and then we also put the file name text there. And instead of adding the image view directly, we add the AnchorPane, so that it still flows together, because now they are held within the AnchorPane. Or maybe AnchorPane wasn't the best thing, because now the text is, I actually wanted to use something that would make it go, so I want like a VBox for this. Yeah, and like this, and try again. Now it's called AP, maybe a bad name, but it was in the first place. So now we can see we have the text beneath the drinks like that, which is pretty cool. And we can have more. We can have our own little grid layout within that and make it flow around like this. So it's a pretty powerful tool, I think, that we can use for creating layout in different and very cool ways. And I think you can use this if you have a lot of creativity. You can probably use it for something a lot cooler than I can think of right now. The last thing I want to talk about is the ability that we can set the orientation. So right now we are flowing vertically. Sorry, horizontally. I tend to switch those around. So we are flowing in this direction right now, but we can actually set the flow orientation to vertical as well. And this is something that we can just set. So we are on the FlowPane itself. So if we say FlowPane, and we have the one called set orientation, and there is an enum that we can set it to vertical or horizontal. So I'm just going to set it to vertical, and we can see the difference. So now it will flow downwards instead of flowing this way. It flows when there's room in the bottom for this. I don't know if that might be something that would be cool. I'm not sure about that. Normally, it would make most sense to do rotation in the other direction, but that's up to you. Of course, this is the default orientation that you can use. You can also do things. You can set a small gap, but right now they are very close. So there's horizontal, and so you can say FlowPane set horizontal gap, and then you set the amount of pixels that you want for. So we could do something like 15, and that should give us some space in the horizontal direction. We can only see that if we flow, we can see there's a space here of 15 pixels now, and we can also set the vertical gap, of course, and we might set that to something like 50 just to make a point. And now we can see that there is a gap in that sense as well. So they're more not as closely connected as before. It's easier to see that they're actually flowing. And although this is not in a very strict grid or something, it doesn't look messy. So I think this flow has a lot of potential. That was it for the entire series about JavaFX live UI components, nodes, and how to lay out all of the different ones. You can probably see I'm not a big fan of the StackPane. I don't see its purpose a lot, and I'm not sure if it's just me, but I hope this gave you some tips and tricks on how to use the different layouts and everything. Bye.